Hey guys, my name's Emily and today I'm going to share with you guys all of the books that I read in the month of April. Forgive me, it is so hot in my room right now. You know what? Let me turn off the big light. The lighting's gonna be a little different, but it's so hot in my room. I need to turn off the lights. I read 7.5 books this month, which is pretty good considering I had a week where I didn't really read at all because I was focused on school. Here is my beautiful pile. Oh, I don't know why my bookmark's still in here. Let's take you out. Oh my gosh, I loved all the books that I read this month. There was nothing that was bad. So I'm gonna go in chronological order just so that there's some sort of order to this video. I also post reviews of these books on my Instagram stories. So if you want to see what I read before I upload these videos, just follow me on Instagram and you can be up to date with all the books that I've read and what I think of them. Technically, if you look on my Goodreads, I read 8 books, but one of them was like a picture book that I got off of Book Outlet. It was like $1 and it's called New York in Bloom by Georgianna Lane. It's a photography book and I was just skimming through that and I read it. But other than that, the first book I read was The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. It was a really good like psychological thriller. I really liked The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides and I thought that this one kind of played with your mind like The Silent Patient did. I rated this one a 4 stars just because I didn't like it as much as I knew that I could have. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about a girl who witnesses something while she is on her daily train ride. She's an unreliable narrator because she is drunk most of the time. So her perspective isn't necessarily very reliable, like I said, but the story was so captivating and interesting and I'm so glad I read it. Ooh, I put tabs in this. Did I annotate this? Oh, I did. I annotated with pencil. I also got this book stamp that says From the Library of Emily Astoria on it, and I think that's super cool. So after I read a book, I stamp it with my embosser. The next book I read was The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. Beautiful book, 4.5 stars, but the only reason why I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5 stars is because I watched Cindy from With Cindy's video about it and I completely agreed about everything. Like, how can you live for 300 years and only travel to white countries and not go anywhere else? Like, even in the 21st century, like, she should have been able to go on a plane and go somewhere. France is so close to so many non-white countries. But I really love this book. I love the edition I got. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. The ending also wasn't as satisfying as I would have liked it to be. I was a little disappointed from that. Other than that, great book. I love the writing. I get how some people could say that it's slow because it did get slow at some times, but I still really enjoyed it because of the writing style and how beautiful it was. I just flew through this book super quickly, surprisingly, because usually thicker fantasy-ish books like this, I have to listen to the audiobook because I just can't pay attention because I have a really short attention span, but this one hooked me the whole entire time. The next book I read was Kisses and Croissants by Anne-Sophie Jouhanneau. Such a good book. I rated this one 5 stars because I felt like I related to it in the moment, because when I was reading this, I was just applying to the nursing program at my school and I ended up not getting in. And the girl in this book was kind of going through a similar situation in which she was trying to apply to different ballet schools and stuff like that and just being nervous about her future and just feeling like her future was riding on these specific schools and if she had to get in there or else she wouldn't succeed. But that's totally wrong. And like the way that she handled it and the love story in this was very satisfying. And I also found out that English is not the author's first language, which is crazy. I also liked how she used a lot of French in here. This book did everything Emily in Paris didn't. I just checked my Instagram and I actually rated this one a 4.5, not a 5 stars, my bad. Then I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Jandy Nelson. I mostly listened to this one on audiobook and let me tell you, for the last 40 minutes I was sobbing. Like, it was so good. The narrator just had me in tears. I was driving while I was listening to it and I probably looked insane. And I rated I'll Give You the Sun 4 stars. I just didn't feel as connected to the story as I thought I would have, just because personally I didn't really relate to it that much. But the ending was so good. The next 2 books I read are actually part of a series that I'm planning on finishing next month. And the first one is The Deal, and the second one is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. If you don't know what these books are about, they are new adult books that follow 4 boys who go to the same college and are on the same hockey team, and each book follows one boy. This one follows Garrett and Hannah's story. This one follows John Logan and Grace's story. I love this book so much. I was flying through it and it actually made me physically laugh out loud. Books do not make me laugh out loud, but these 2, both of them, made me laugh out loud. These are like guilty pleasure books. They're not books that you read for beautiful writing styles, you know, stuff like that. This one is just give me cliche, give me cheesy, and I loved it so much. This one I rated 5 stars and this one I rated 4.5 stars, just because I didn't love it as much as The Deal, but I still really loved it a lot. The Deal I liked a little more because the story felt a little more believable. The Mistake, I don't know, the conflict that happened at the end was not very satisfying to me. It just didn't feel like that big of a deal, and I feel like she made a big deal over nothing. I don't know. I can't wait to finish the series and then start on the Briar U series, which is another spin-off, so hopefully I like that one just as much as I like these. And the last book that I read this month is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I mostly listened to this on audio and I rated this book 4 stars. I personally didn't like it as much as I feel like I could have. I might have gone into it with too high of expectations just because everyone has been recommending it and it's popular on Book Talk. So I was going into it with like really high expectations. I do think I'm gonna read the second book, but it was okay. Don't get me wrong, it was still good, but it just wasn't 5-star material for me. If you don't know what this book is about, it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling in Shanghai, 1926. And it's about rival gangs and there's a fantastical element into it. It's a low fantasy, urban fantasy, but less emphasis on the fantasy, more emphasis on the urban. It tackles a lot of issues about white supremacy and colonization and the power of the white man, which I wasn't expecting when going into this book. But everything she wrote about it made so much sense and it was eye-opening, and I just wasn't expecting to get that out of this book prior to reading it, but I'm very glad that I did. And the last book, which is the half book, I only got up to page 166, but it is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is obviously going to be in my TBR for next month, so stay tuned for that video. It's coming out soon. You'll get to see my review on this book in a special video. So these are all the books that I read this month. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.